This week on 60 Minutes, we tell the story of the hunt for the notorious Boston gangster James Whitey Bulger. For 16 years, he was a fugitive from the law, eluding an international manhunt largely by living a quiet life in a modest apartment in Santa Monica, California, and by using multiple aliases. One alias in particular, James Lawlor, caught our attention because it wasn't just an assumed name. Lawler was a real person who Bulger befriended and then used as a cover. When Bulger was arrested in 2011, he told the FBI that he helped support Lawler in return for the use of his name, his driver's license, and his Social Security card. FBI agents Phil Torsney, now retired, and Rich Tian were on the Whitey Bulger Fugitive Task Force. They say Bulger zeroed in on Lawler for one reason: his looks.
It was really the best ID that he had, in our opinion, because at some points he looked exactly like James Lawlor, and that was, Bulger manipulated James Lawlor, but he also befriended him for 10 years, took care of him, paid his rent, as long as Lawlor would continue to renew his IDs, keep his bank account in check and open and active, and provide Bulger with the needed documents to maintain that alias. But he had also befriended this guy. This guy was an Army veteran. Bulger was in the Air Force. They shared that commonality.
How did he meet Lawler, and how did he convince him to give him his identity or share his identity?
Bulger was actively in that area of Venice Beach in Santa Monica, California. When he first got there, he would target individuals that were down on their luck, had a drinking problem, were wandering the promenade area down there, and that's part of the reason he picked this spot. I mean, there was a lot of white males in his age group in that area. He eventually started speaking to Lawler. He talked to him. He found out, he's from the East Coast, just like Bulger, prior military service, and he looked at him and saw he looked somewhat like me. And that's why he picked Lawler.
Lawler just gave him his driver's license?
Well, for money. For money, initially. He would pay him for the initial driver's license and then pay him to have it renewed. This is what Bulger told us.
Do you have a picture of Lawler? Do you have a picture of that driver's license?
We do.
We do.
Do you think Whitey grew the beard first, or did Lawler grow the beard first?
Whitey saw what Lawler had, and he made himself have the same thing. That's what I think he was doing.
When Lawler died in 2007, Bulger talked about that. He visibly broke down. He visibly started crying, and I just found it amazing that he had that type of range of emotion.
Why do you think he cried when you talked about Lawler's death?
Because I think he had befriended him. I think they really became close, and Bulger had taken care of Lawler for so long. Lawler had a drinking problem, and I think Bulger, tried to fix him, and he couldn't fix him. But they were real close friends.